Hey there, my voracious vacuum cleaners! Today we're diving into the world where inhaling your enemies isn't just acceptable, it's encouraged. Welcome to the land where the cuisine ranges from spicy curry to invincibility lollipops. And the local hero is a pink puffball with an insatiable appetite. You guessed it, we're unraveling the enigma of Kirby's Dream Land, the game that introduced us to the concept that size really doesn't matter, especially if you can suck up your problems and spit them out as stars. So buckle up as we embark on this gustatory journey through Dreamland, where the adventure began with a simple inhale and turned into a cultural phenomenon that's still blowing us away.
Kirby, あなたは刺してないわよ。
In the mystical era of the early 1990s, when neon colors and mullets were still in fashion, a tiny spherical hero was born in the minds of the folks at HAL Laboratory. The mastermind behind this puff of genius was none other than Masahiro Sakurai, who, at the tender age of 19, decided that the gaming world needed something new, something rounder. And thus, Kirby made his debut, not in a blaze of glory, but in a puff of air, in Kirby's Dream Land. Now you might be thinking, why a pink blob? Well, Kirby's iconic color was actually a subject of debate. Initially, Kirby was a placeholder, a simple blob dubbed Po during development. The color? A matter of contention. Sakurai envisioned Kirby as pink, while Shigeru Miyamoto, Nintendo's godfather of gaming, pictured him as yellow. Pink won out. Thankfully, because can you even imagine a yellow Kirby? It'd be like if Pac-Man and a chewing gum had a love child. The simplicity of Kirby's design was no accident. Sakurai aimed to create a game that was accessible to beginners while still offering depth for seasoned gamers. Kirby's ability to inhale enemies and objects was a stroke of genius, combining simplicity with a hint of strategy. And let's not forget, this was a time when game mechanics were often as complex as trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded.
ああいう生徒を導いてやらにゃ。
In the realm of Kirby's Dream Land, the cast is as diverse as a buffet at an all-you-can-eat restaurant. And the story? Well, it's like a fairy tale that had a bit too much sugar. Our round, pink protagonist, Kirby, isn't just any hero. He's the elastic, optimistic savior of Dreamland, a world where food magically floats and everyone lives in a state of blissful, calorie-filled happiness. That is until King DDD, the self-proclaimed ruler of Dreamland, decides he's not just content with ruling. He wants to dine like a king too. So he does what any villain with an oversized appetite and a shortage of manners would do. He steals all the food in Dreamland. Now, this might sound like a minor inconvenience, but in Dreamland, it's practically a crisis of epic proportions. Imagine your fridge, pantry, and local grocery store all vanishing overnight. Yeah, nightmare material, am I right? Enter Kirby, a hero not by choice, but by sheer necessity, driven by the primal urge to ensure no citizen of Dreamland goes to bed hungry. It's a simple story that resonates with anyone who's ever had their lunch stolen in the school cafeteria. You feel for Kirby, and you're invested in his journey to restore culinary justice. But Kirby's Dream Land isn't just about the battle between hunger and heroism. It introduces us to a cast of characters that would become staples in the Kirby franchise. There's the Waddle Dees, the most non-threatening foes you'll ever encounter, unless you find being gently bumped to be particularly menacing. Then there's the boss battles, from the trees with a face, Wispy Woods, who attacks by dropping apples, to the infamous King DDD himself, a hammer-wielding penguin with a penchant for theft and a serious case of royal entitlement. These characters aren't just obstacles, they're personalities that add depth to Dreamland's world. They make you question the moral ambiguity of inhaling your enemies and using them as ammunition. Are the Waddle Dees truly malevolent or just misunderstood? Is King DDD a villain or just a misunderstood monarch with an insatiable hunger? These are the questions that keep us up at night, long after we've turned off our Game Boy.
超忙しいから構ってる暇なんてないでゲス。
こうなれば武力行使で人民どもを制圧するぞい。
はいはい。
Now, diving into the gameplay mechanics of Kirby's Dream Land is like peeling an onion. It seems straightforward at first, but then you find layers you didn't expect, and suddenly you're crying. Crying because it's beautifully simple yet deceptively deep. On the surface, it's a classic side-scrolling platformer where you, as Kirby, navigate through various stages, overcoming obstacles, enemies, and bosses, all in the noble quest to reclaim Dreamland's stolen food supply. But here's where Kirby flips the script on traditional platformers: his ability to inhale objects and enemies. This mechanic isn't just innovative, it's revolutionary, turning Kirby into a pink, airborne vacuum cleaner that can either swallow enemies whole or spit them out as a star-shaped projectile. It's a mechanic that says, why bother jumping on your enemies when you can just consume them? This approach not only adds a unique twist to gameplay, but also provides players with strategic choices. Do you absorb your enemies' abilities, or use them as ammo against others? It's like being at a buffet and deciding whether to go for the sushi or the steak first. Both options are valid, but your choices can drastically alter your experience. Kirby's Dream Land also introduces players to a variety of environments, each with its own set of challenges and aesthetics. From the lush green landscapes of Green Greens to the floating fortresses of Mount DDD, each level is designed to test your reflexes, puzzle-solving skills, and your ability to adapt to new mechanics that are introduced along the way. The game's level design encourages exploration, urging players to discover secret areas and hidden power-ups. It's akin to rummaging through a treasure chest, where every nook and cranny might hold something wonderful. Boss battles in Kirby's Dream Land are memorable not just for their characters, but how they utilize the game's mechanics. Each boss requires a different strategy, pushing players to master Kirby's abilities, whether it's timing your inhales perfectly to catch an apple thrown by the Wispy Woods, or dodging King DDD's mallet swings. These encounters highlight the game's depth. They're puzzles wrapped in boss fights, teaching players that brawn isn't always as effective as brains. But this game isn't just a simple platformer. It's a canvas of creativity, hiding secrets and nods that only most eagle-eyed players, or those with a penchant for pressing buttons in every corner, might uncover.
Kirby, 旅に出るのか。カブー予言した。カービーが来ることカブー知っていた。
First up, let's talk about the game's difficulty settings. Yes, Kirby's Dream Land might seem as challenging as a pillow fight at first glance, but it harbors a secret. By inputting a certain combination of button presses on the title screen, players can unlock the Extra Game Mode, a harder version of the game that's suddenly like realizing your pillow fight opponent is a professional wrestler. This mode doesn't just amp up the difficulty, it remixes enemy placements and behaviors, offering a fresh challenge to those who thought they'd seen everything Kirby had to offer. But wait, there's more. For the truly masochistic, completing the Extra Game Mode reveals a cryptic message, hinting at yet another hidden gameplay feature. This leads to the discovery of configuration mode, which allows players to tweak settings such as Kirby's remaining lives and the amount of vitality. It's like being handed the keys to the game's engine room, allowing you to customize the challenge to your heart's content. But perhaps the most charming piece of trivia is the origin of Kirby's name. While many theories exist, one popular belief is that Kirby was named after John Kirby, the lawyer who defended Nintendo in a legal battle against Universal Studios over copyright claims related to Donkey Kong. Whether this is entirely true or not, the idea that Nintendo's lovable pink hero could be named after a real-life legal champion adds a layer of intrigue and gratitude to Kirby's legacy. When Kirby's Dream Land floated onto the Game Boy scene in 1992, it wasn't just launching a new character. It was setting the table for a feast that would satisfy gamers' appetites for decades. The game's reception was akin to dropping a gourmet meal in front of someone who'd been surviving on bread and water. Gamers and critics alike devoured Kirby's debut, praising its accessibility, charming design, and innovative gameplay mechanics. But how did this translate into cold, hard numbers? Let's just say Kirby didn't just eat his enemies, he ate up the sales charts too. Kirby's Dream Land sold over 5 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling games on the Game Boy. This wasn't just a win, it was a mic drop moment that announced Kirby as a major player in the gaming world. The pink Puffball's ability to capture hearts wasn't just due to his cuteness, though let's be honest, that helped, but also because he offered a fresh take on the platforming genre. Kirby's success proved that there's a hunger for games that were not only accessible to players of all skill levels, but also packed with depth and innovation. But Kirby's impact wasn't limited to just numbers and sales. He became a cultural icon, a symbol of joy and resilience. The character of Kirby, with his simple, joyful demeanor, resonated with fans around the globe, becoming a beacon of positivity in the gaming community. His influence extended beyond video games, inspiring merchandise, animated series, and a plethora of appearances in other media and games, further cementing his status as a Nintendo flagship character along Mario and Link. Furthermore, Kirby's Dream Land laid the groundwork for the series' reputation as a laboratory for experimentation within Nintendo. Subsequent Kirby titles have been known to explore new genres, art styles, and gameplay mechanics, from the tilt-based controls of Kirby's Tilt and Tumble to the claymation art style of Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. This spirit of experimentation and the willingness to take risks can be traced back to the bold decisions made during the development of Kirby's Dream Land. So there you have it, the whirlwind tour of Kirby's Dream Land, a game that proved sometimes the mightiest heroes come in the softest, roundest forms. From its humble beginnings on the Game Boy to becoming a cornerstone of Nintendo's empire, Kirby's journey is a reminder that greatness often starts with a single inhale. Whether you're a seasoned veteran revisiting Dreamland for nostalgia's sake or a new fan discovering the joys of Kirby's world, one thing's for sure, Kirby's appetite for adventure is as insatiable as ever, much like our love for this pink puffball. As we close this chapter on Kirby's debut, remember, in a world filled with challenges, sometimes all you need to do is puff up, face your problems head on, and, when in doubt, eat them. If you enjoyed this look back on Kirby's Dream Land, click this video here for more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.